Ryoto Sky, the only Pokemon trainer who trains harder than the Pokemon themselves. It's time for Rika and the Elite Four. Thank you for joining me here as we continue the playthrough of Pokemon Violet Wish Cash against Flareon, the sociable type matchup. Not gonna work out for me here, but we like sending out Flareon first. One, because my kid loves Flareon and all the evolutions, but also because we can get that quick offense in right off the bat. But we're gonna swap out for Pawmot because we want to try to take advantage of the type, but we will learn if we are successful here. Wish Cash with the Earth Power right off the bat, and that is not the way that you want to start off the Elite Four, with a very good move set for Wish Cash. And that's one of the things about these newer Pokemon games. I see it especially in Pokemon Violet, and I would assume, you know, Scarlet as well, but even different in Pokemon Sword and Shield. The move sets of these trainers, especially towards the end game, even at the beginning level gyms, like the move sets are able to counter the type disadvantages. So with this water Pokemon with such a good earth move here, Wish Cash is able to just knock out Pawmot in one hit. So let's make the terrain a little bit grassy here. Meowscarada with a good move set here, at least for the campaign. The Blizzard does not hit, which is very good for us. And then the Flower Trick, which is the auto crit, plus the grassy terrain, means super effectiveness, and Wish Cash is gone in one hit. So here we are at 1-1 against Rika. Rika, very cool colored hair. Camerupt comes out next. And where do we counter? Do we go Garchomp or do we go Dragonite? Both with water moves on their moveset. So we're going to go with either Liquidation or Surf. And it's going to be Dragonite first who goes out there. The terrain is still grassy. Rika, pretty cool character in this game. I've said before on the channel that I just like how the Elite Four and the gym leaders, they're not main characters. You don't learn a whole lot about them, but they're fleshed out just enough to make you kind of care about them. You know, players like Nemona and Arven, you get a lot more insight into them, which I think is great. But the trainers such as Rika and Iona and you know, trainers like that, you at least feel like they have some personality, which I really like. So Camerupt, thanks to the rain and the surf move, is done in one hit. So we're off to a pretty good start here. Pawmot got destroyed with that earth power, but after that we're doing pretty good. So the yawn now makes Dragonite fall asleep. So where do we go from here? We've got Clodsire, of course. The tank is going to come in and try to do some poison moves. You saw me on this channel earlier in some big battles use the poison and heal technique with Clodsire. So we went with Flareon first to just try to get the instant offense right out of the gate. But now we go Clodsire, and we are slightly over leveled at this point. The battle with Penny, the battle with Clavel gave us some good experience. Super effective with the Earthquake against Clodsire, but Clodsire's defense is so high and Clodsire's level is higher here, so Clodsire just does fine. The HP restores a little bit of the health after that. Now the grass is going to disappear from the battlefield. We do go Poison Spikes, or Toxic Spikes, I should say. Super effective, and Clodsire toughs it out. Now, the Toxic on Donphan is going to badly poison. Glad we hit that, right? It's not 100% hit rate, but the badly poison is a very important distinction between just regular poisoning and badly poisoning. So, Clodsire holds on, and we go Max Potion, although the Earthquake should have probably knocked us out in one hit, but Clodsire toughed it out, which leaves it at 1. But we go Max Potion to see that if we can hang on here with a couple more Earthquakes coming our way, if we're able to hang on and Stone Edge here, which is not very effective. The rock is not helpful, so that buys us a little time. That gives us a little help from the poison. So we look to Dragonite, who's asleep, so maybe wake up Dragonite here, I think, is the move. Indeed, we go down looking for the Awakening. So in case you want to see the moves that we're using, I just move myself over here into the corner. But the Earthquake here doesn't knock out Clodsire, so we're just still hanging on. The max potions will still be useful. Now back into the bag. Here against Rika. Clodsire hanging on with 32, and like I said earlier, the important distinction is when you're badly poisoned, the damage every turn as it goes by just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. So Toxic Spikes is a great move, but Toxic itself is better. And wow, it's, the inconsistency there with the Earthquakes is very interesting. So that was a critical, which is what knocks out Clodsire, but the first couple of Earthquakes, despite being super effective, did not knock out the Clodsire, but then Donphan hits the crit, which knocks out Clodsire. So let's go to Dragonite. It's still raining. Let's see if we can take advantage of some of that rain. Super effective because of the water move and the rain, and Donphan has absolutely no chance. That would have been a one-hit KO if Donphan still had the HP, but nothing to really worry about here yet. We got Dugtrio coming out. We probably want to go with water moves here, whether that's going to be with Garchomp or Dragonite. The rain stops, so we lose a little bit of an advantage because of the Surf and Liquidation in our movesets, but it's not, I don't think, going to be a big deal. So we stay with Dragonite. Dugtrio, fun fact, is one of my all-time favorite Pokemon. When I first beat Pokemon Yellow many years ago, Dugtrio was a very critical member of that team, catching the Diglett down in Diglett's cave and holding that Pokemon and using it throughout the entire game. So I've always loved Dugtrio. My first ever Hall of Fame team as a Pokemon trainer, Dugtrio was on it. So the spikes do affect Dugtrio here, which is useful. We try to change the weather to rain. Dugtrio, or Rika I should say, goes back to the Sandstorm, but the Surf is way too overpowering for Dugtrio, so we don't really have to worry about the Sandstorm. The little bit of damage from the Sandstorm is cool, and look at this Clodsire against my team, which is crazy because, you know, Clodsire is, as you know, if you're subscribed to the channel, Clodsire is my new favorite Pokemon. Love that poison ground type, and you can see here that I'm wanting to go with Clodsire. You can see me right here, you know, just trying to decide, oh, who do we go with to match up against Clodsire, but, you know, Clodsire's fainted. The Earthquake took him out, so we have to kind of, you know, find an alternative. Do we go Garchomp? Do we go Meowscarada? A few different options here to go against the poison and ground type. And so taking a while to decide here. You know, thinking about going up against Clodsire is new for me, using Clodsire for pretty much the whole game, you know. Catching Clodsire very early, catching the little Wooper early on in the game. So it takes a minute here to figure out who we're gonna go with, but in the meantime, it's not really a tough situation here against Rika. We're not really that worried about the first part of the Elite Four. We do want to try to maintain things like revives and potions and stuff like that as things are going to get harder as the battles go on, because of course we can't heal in the middle of the Elite Four unless we use our own items. So Rika's pretty impressed. Here comes the Clodsire. Poison spikes once again disappear. You might have seen that in the last video. For whatever reason, I could look it up. I'm sure I could, but figuring out why the spikes disappear after a while, that's on my list of things to research. Now, Rika goes for Terastalize, and while I was doing this battle, of course, my kid there watching My assistant trainer, my 5-year-old little girl, is like, Daddy, you gotta terrorize, you gotta terrorize. Yes, that's what she calls it. She calls it terrorize. You know, I call it terrestrialize, but I'm like, no, kid, I don't think it's a good idea to terrestrialize here. We gotta save that. We gotta save that for later on in the Elite Four, and if not for the champion Gita. So we don't terrestrialize. We go to the flower trick. We get our crit. Is it enough? It is enough. One hit KO. It feels just like it felt bad to defeat Mabostiff earlier in the game in the Arvin battle. It's like, yeah, I feel bad beating up on my favorite Clodsire. It's just one of the best Pokemon in the game, if you ask me. And I'm not super dialed in with the competitive Pokemon, the VG championships. You can see one of my other videos that just came out a couple days ago where I react to the regional championships in Fort Wayne. My point is I'm not sure if Clodsire is a very effective, competitive Pokemon. I think Clodsire is great, and it hurts me to destroy that Clodsire right there. But mad respect to Rika for having a Clodsire on the team. So if you want to see the matchup with Poppy, you gotta subscribe and watch the next video. It'll be out in a couple of days. Thank you everybody for watching. I am Ryoto Sky, and we'll see you in the next video.